Hey everybody, this is DSP Models, and welcome to the next episode of the Deep Space Nine build series. Um, the last thing we did was we finished up all the way out to the habitat ring. This whole center structure is essentially complete, with windows and everything, and now we're moving out to the outer docking ring with the docking pylons and all of the larger, longer, um, more spread out, spacier parts of this model. And that's actually really kind of exciting because all of the rest of this model is still clear and on the sprue and in the bags and everything. So we get to continue from what's in the box. Whereas leading up to now, pretty much everything I had done, the majority of the work, like 2/3 of the work for already before we started the series. So we'll get to see everything else now. That being said, it's been a little while since I've actually filmed an update, and that is because I started filming this next part and got everything laid out. I did some unboxing and then realized I was missing a one vitally important piece. It was only one piece in the kit that was missing, but that was a very vitally important piece that we can't build this without. And that is, I'll show you. It's one of these pylons. It's the pylon pieces come in halves. They come in halves like this, and I was missing a bottom piece that has, I can show you, it has a hole at the end of the pylon where where it's going to attach to whatever base or stand or whatever, and your power is going to go through there. It's going to structural support, like everything. For every way in the world, you can't build the model without these parts. For every reason you can come up with, you can't. And just missing one half of that made it to where I couldn't build this model, and or build the rest of it. And so I ended up, I ordered another kit off of eBay. So I've been waiting around. Not completely wait. I've been doing behind the scenes stuff. I've been planning out all of my lighting that's left. I ordered some more lights. I did some work on, because we have so many Defiants in the kit. We have 3 in this kit. Now the new kit, we got 3 more. So we got 6 of these. So plenty to play around with. So I did some mock-up test lighting and light blocking and prototyping for how we're going to light up the Defiant. And that's actually went really well. It as far as light leaks and everything, this thing works like a dream compared to what the rest of the model has been doing. It's not giving me an issue hardly at all. And it actually looks really, in the windows on the bottom. I just did real quick and dirty windows. And like there's no accuracy. Like there's no rhyme or reason how I did it. I just put a bunch of windows in the general areas that I know there are some, which are mostly on the bottom, on the edges of the concave part of the ship. And how I done it was I just took the tip of my my hobby knife blade, and I touched where I wanted a window. And I just twisted put a little pressure and a twist, and then I moved, put a little pressure and a twist. It was just that quick, just twist, 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 twist. I just did that a few times where I wanted windows, and then I lit it up, and they light up like a dream, and they're actually the proper scale because it's just the tip of the drill bit, and this is a very tiny ship, and so it made them the right size. I was actually very happy with that little method. Um, and I put some clear blue and clear red on the right parts of it. This one, I'll light this up for you and show you. It's not. I'm gonna have to do a little more with it, and it's not sealed. I can just take and pop this open still and put more lights in it. But I know what I'm gonna do. But so I played around with that, and I've decided I was gonna have this separate. That's why there's a magnet on the end of this. I thought about actually making it dock, but I'm gonna have to go a different route altogether. That I don't know that I want to put that much effort into it because I'll have to make alterations, visual alterations to both my ship that's being docked and the docking clamps and port where the gangway is. I'll have to put visual alterations on both those in order to make it where it will dock and power through the ship, through the station. I have it figured out. I'm just not sure I really want to pull the trigger on making the full station completely functional as a station, a dockable station, while sacrificing visual accuracies. I don't know that I want to do that. So I think, and then I got to thinking about the Defiant is Worf's permanent quarters, anyways, as long as it's docked at the station. And I got to thinking about that, and I was like, you know what? Because I didn't want it to be just permanently attached to the station originally. So I could get, if I wanted pictures and stuff, I could get pictures without it. And it would be a lot easier for it to just not be there than to have to erase it otherwise. But I got to thinking, and it makes sense for it to be permanently docked there as a model because storyline wise, this is Worf's quarters. He lives on the Defiant, and it's attached to the ship. It's attached to the station. So there's my reasoning. I had to give myself some canon reasoning for doing that. But by doing so, I'm able to not only power this ship, but also I can get my my strobes to work. Initially, I was only worried about static lighting, at just bare minimum, some windows and a soft glow from the nacelle pieces, the engine pieces, and the grill up here, and these the four whatever full port looking things these are. And I thought about, even though it's not necessarily canon, putting a white static light right there. That was the only lighting I was thinking about because it's docked to the station. It's not an active ship. It's the station is basically powering it. So everything wouldn't be turned on. But I really think it's going to look best if the strobes are on, if nothing else. I mean, the others, but yes, but if nothing else besides the static lights is on, the strobes will flash. But the chip that I have that controls that will not in any way fit inside this. That was the main reason I built the little mock-up to get it to see if the prototype would hold it, and it will not. It's too big of a chunky chip. So I can put a flasher chip in here, no problem at all. I have plenty of room for that, but they're not supposed to flash. It's supposed to strobe. And the only way to do that is to have it docked to the station, and the station is actually it's going through the port of the station, through the nose of the ship, and powering the strobes. So permanently attached to the station, the Defiant shall be. But that doesn't mean we don't get to play around with other Defiants. We have 6 to play around with. Where was I going? What did we start with? Oh, this. Ordered the new kit. It finally got here today, and I've already got the other half of my bottom pylon here. So now we have all the parts to this kit that it's supposed to have. The other kit had all the parts. I checked it. It's good. It's just this one kit, and I checked the fit on the parts to see if I like the fitting on the other one any better. They both fit like exactly the same, oddly enough. It's just these pylon pieces come in a bag. They don't come on a sprue sheet where you can see how many's there. They come in a wad in a bag. And I think what happened was when they were putting them in the bag to put them out, distribute them in the kits, just somehow there was a miscount, and one half didn't go in. It happens. I just hate that I found out so late. And it because they're packaged that way, it's hard to spot. You have to really pay attention to catch that, and I didn't pay a close enough attention. Anyways, I was gonna light this up for you. I did the back little circles. There is a locator pin right there that when I build the real one, I'll have to take the locator pins out, which is fine, and I normally do anyways. It's just with this being a prototype, this was just testing my lighting, so I didn't really care. But those light up really nice. Those light up really nice. And then my windows, and as far as how bright they are, I think they're scaled really well. And then that's another thing. This hole on the bottom I did not drill. They come with a hole pre-drilled or it's already there. It was cast with the molded with the hole there. So I'll have to cover that up. I'll have to fill that hole, which is fine. See, the actual engine parts, which the back you see pretty good, but the front where the red is not lighting up too well compared to that lights up perfect. What I'll have to do is this is just one section of 3 double density LED tape. Just one little section tape to the top of this right here, facing down, and that is what's doing all that lighting. So what I'll have to do is take an SMD and put there and there on either side where those engines are, and that will fill out the rest of my light, and it'll be nice and even. So that's all I've got to do to this. And then for the strobes, instead of doing the SMD, because there's actually several strobes all over this, and there's not much room in here at all. And I've never really played around with fiber optics in bundles to get to do. I actually have never really done that. And I think that's what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to get one, instead of an SMD, do an LED, so it makes it way easier to do the fiber optics, and do one bulb and then run my fiber optic to the front, top and bottom, and the back two, and there's some under here as well. it really feels like there's supposed to be one here on the top center, but there actually is not. From everything that I've went and looked at, there is not actually a strobe or anything right there. There's a little bit because the USS Defiant is on that registry is right here on the front of that ring. There's a little bit of a beam, a light beam that is cast on it from the center little nodule there. But you see the beam more than anything else. So I think what I'll do is maybe try to attempt a little bit of a Raytheon. But yeah, I'll do another prototype to test the next phase of the lighting for this. And then I'll also, I think for that one, I'll also go ahead and light up the front because I got plenty of them. I can have my own standalone, like 2500 scale, I think is what this is. Defiance that I can fully light up, and I want the front to light up too. So I'll probably have to have a third SMD. So the LED tape, an SMD, and then one more SMD to the front because of the shape of it. It wasn't getting hardly any light. Which there's also a locator pin right there as well, so that wasn't helping. But yeah, there's actually more lights go in this thing to make it light up properly than you would think, even if we're just doing the static lighting. Anyways, I've gone on enough with that, but there you go. You get an idea of what the Defiant's going to look like when it's all lit up. Fun stuff. Anyways, so I worked on all that, and what we're going to do now is we're going to start working on our lighting for the station. For the rest of this station, we're going to go ahead and start putting it together, dry fitting parts together, which I did dry fit everything together, and it's extremely hard to do so because the locator pins on this are like non-existent. They're absolute shite. So we're gonna take and we're gonna put start getting our lighting soldered up and where they're supposed to be, and start dry fitting them together to make sure everything's working right, and then from there we'll start light blocking key areas that we know is going to be an issue and we know light is not gonna go. Particularly fine detail areas with lots of sharp edges, those are definitely getting light blocked from the inside. Learned that the hard way with the other part of the kit that we built already. But on these arms though, there's no light coming through them at all, except for the up here, the gondola are control. What's it called? Yeah, control gondola, I think is what they label it as. This place, it's got windows, what looks like windows all around. I'm gonna light those up, so it will get those windows will light at the very top, and they'll all have a red flashing nav indicator that correspond with the red flashing indicators on all of the defense cells that we've already got going. But that's 2 light bulbs on the very end. The rest of this is going to be completely light blocked because there's going to be no light in this whatsoever. The main lighting and everything is going to go in the rings. Arms too, which the arms are going to be the hardest because there's not much room there's not much room inside of here. And there's just enough, like if I get rid of the locator pins right here, there's just enough space to pass wires through, which is going to have to happen. And this is going to be on either side of this place that's got the hollow, like it's hollow and right there on either side of that weird bridge looking section. There's light, it lights up. There's windows filled with windows on either side of that, and it's going to be really hard to get our lighting from our LED tape to evenly light those all the way up to where that wire is going to pass through there. That's going to be a job trying to make that light up, because our SMDs and LEDs is not the same color white as our LED tape. The LED tape is more of a neutral color. I think we may have talked about that in another video. I would call it a neutral white. It's not cool white. It's not got a blue tint to it. And it's not warm white. It's not got a yellow or reddish orange warmness to it. It's literally neutral. It's just white. If anything, it's got a little bit of green, if you were to call out a color in it. My other LMDs are either cool white, it's got that little tint of blue to it, if anything, or my warm white. So none of my individual lights are going to match my LED tape. And I want to use the LED tape because I think it gives off just the right color for the station, as far as what we saw in the opening credits and everything of the show. So this is going to be tricky to get this lit on either side of this thing, but yeah. Anyways, we're going to start lighting parts of this, or getting the light set up for parts of this in this video, and we'll get started on that, and then I'll check back in with you when I got something for you. So see you in a bit. Hey guys. So I've light blocked these on the inside. The outside got a little oversprayed. That's fine. They're gonna get sanded again anyways. But I light blocked. I put 2 pretty heavy coats on the inside of these, and I just masked off the top where I need the light to go through, and I think that's gonna be a whole lot better, especially since there's no light gonna be in these at all, except for the top. So those are light blocked, and this is all one piece now. This is all the bottom parts. We know it's the bottom because it has the longer extended bridge pieces that the central structure that we've already built sits on top of. So this is the bottom parts, and these are the bottom pylons with the holes in them for the rods to go through, and these will mount on top of here. I put these together with solar resin. So these go together, which I'm gonna have a damn hard time. The alignment on this and the locating pins are absolutely horrible. But it's got little railed grooved pieces here, and there's a slot for the front 2, and then along this line here there is actually a groove slot for the back one to set in. So it sits There you go. It sits in there like that, and like I said, locator pins are awful. And you do all three of them like that. Like this fits together quite well. The way it's designed. And it's really nice that there's no lights that go on any of this or around where it connects to the station. There's no lights, so we can putty it and make it look really good. I'm less than happy about the alignment of the back details. The bottom ones, these ones that go on the bottom, these ones, they're not bad. They're actually pretty all right. But the ones that go on top, and I checked both kits and they're both the same. The alignment for these is really poor. It's hard to get this one to do it because of the locator pins, but the alignment on the top pylon halves is for the details is just about that much. Like they're about that far off from being in line. And it's so bad that the bottom, where this is flush, is not flush. It's like this. If it'll focus well enough for you to see that. It's not in line. And it has to be in line to fit in the groove. Like, they're really bad. So what I'm going to have to do is, since these are like almost non-existent anyways, and they're just horrible, I'm just going to take the locator pins off, and we will attach these without them, so that it can be correct. But anyways, this is a lot more talking and explaining than I meant to. Per usual, that's just how these go. I tend to ramble when I get started and can't stop. My mind goes everywhere. Look, I'm doing it right now. Anyways, this is where we're at. The next thing is we're gonna actually install the lights inside these pylons. I'm gonna sand for one thing, but I'm gonna take and put the light and get them installed in all three of these pylons, and then I'll check back with you when that's done. So hey guys, quick little update. Yeah, really messy workbench right here, and this is only what you can see in the frame. It is a mess right now. Out of necessity though. this is a really messy job. You would not think it would make this much mess. Hold on, I've lost something. Of course I've lost something. Never mind, I didn't lose something. I just lost my mind. I moved something and forgot. Anyways, thought I would show you on the messy workbench what I've got done, because I got one of these basically done, and I thought I'd show it to you so you could see what I did. So for one thing, where's the other one? So this is a top pylon piece, and it has some details on the here. Let me go to a different camera. So there's details here, and I was looking up on where to put the flashing indicator, and I saw where to put it, and then I pulled out one of these top pieces just to see what was on it, and it literally is molded on here in pretty much the right place at the dome of where the light should go. So that was helpful. And there's a little square block piece right here. It's really hard to get this where the camera could see it. And then there's a circle that's the same size as the hole, which should not be on the top piece. I'll have to fill that in. And then the light is on the front portion of that circle. Well, the bottom pylons, they don't come that way. They're flat on the bottom with just the hole, because that's where it goes on the stand. However, I'm gonna have this suspended on some posts high enough that like everything should still look the same and light up, and that's what I'm gonna do regardless. So I wanted it to look the same because it should, and it would also help me put the light in the right place. So what I did was I took some styrene that I got and I cut out the circles. I measured them and cut them out, and then I measured and cut out the little squares that go here. This one's only got the circle and it's glued on half of it, so that I could get the positioning right with my light. And then this little baggie is containing the other ones. Show you one of the squares. So it goes right there. And that will, I mean, they're rough. They need to be sanded and the edges smoothed and everything, which is fine. That's no problem. So, but that adds the details that we're missing on the bottom of the bottom pylons. Bottom of the bottom. So, put that back in the bag before I lose it. And here is the inner workings. So it's just two lights. It's the indicator light, which is a 0405. It's a pico LED. And it's the same exact LED that is in the defensive sails. Same exact thing. And it's, in fact, it's attached to the same. That's what this is. That's the little chipboard that is the controller for that particular flash strobe circuit. And I just took some solar res and made a little dome. And then we've got this. This is the white LED that's going to illuminate these windows here on the gondola. And I was hoping for some residual light to go through here and maybe go through to light up parts of the docking clamps and porthole ring, but there's a post gonna be through this. So I don't think that's gonna work, but that would have been kind of cool. That goes on the front right there. And but that's what the inside of them are. It's literally just those two lights, and then everything is light blocked below that. And I got it all wired up so I can turn it on and show you guys. I even attached the flash circuit so that that would work as well. And that's really blowing out the the brightness on the camera, but that's lighting up that whole area there. I thought about recessing it, but in the event it doesn't work out the way I want it to, if I recess it, I wouldn't be able to really get to it to fix it. So I just put it at the edge facing the windows, the back edge facing the windows, level with them. So hopefully that's the best way to do it. There it is, all working. That's it. So that one is done. It just needs to be it needs to be glued together, and the little square rectangle piece glued on. This needs to be attached. Well, it needs to be cleaned up and attached. I just took one straight off the sprue just to do some testing with. And then it needs to be puttied and finished and everything and prepped for painting. But electronically, it's done. Now I just have to do 2 more. You guys, I don't know why, but this took forever. This has taken a few hours to get to this point. But now that I've done it, the others should go pretty quick. Yep. So I'm going to do these other 2 and get to probably doing some finish work and get them to a more completed state, ready to closer to painting, and then I'll check back in with you. So see you then. Hey guys. So they're epoxied together now, and we're actually gonna end this video here. I got to looking at how much video I had. I had worked up for this video so far, and this is actually a good place to stop, and which is convenient because I've come to a decision, and that is I am no longer using epoxy to put this model together. At least not for most of it. These have sat overnight. I put these together last night, and to make a long story short and to cut a lot of details, and to put it very mildly, it was a battle. It was a fight and brawl for over an hour to get these 3 glued together properly and not be a complete disaster. Though I made a complete mess, it was a horrible mess regardless, trying to use that epoxy. And it was 30-minute epoxy, but there's just not enough time with such large fine surface area to get all of it done before all of it has to be put together. And you want to go ahead and do it all 3 at once, or the whole thing at once you get a batch mixed up, because you end up with a lot of the stuff, because you have to mix the 2 parts, and you have to have equal amounts and so much of it just to mix it. And it was a lot. So and it's the entire time I've built this clear model kit, I have had that kind of problem, but last night was the worst. That was a straw breaker. That was the final straw. So I will not be torturing myself with the epoxy resin anymore. So I'm going to take now and do what I've seen others do, and do some experimenting with different adhesives, different glues, to see what works the best and what will actually work on this clear ABS. Usually, I mean, the easiest and quickest thing is going to be using CA glue. That's what everybody's gonna. That's what the people that sell the kit tell you to use CA glue. But I don't trust that. Just from my own experiences, CA glue is not going to hold up for longevity. Eventually, down the road, it's going to become brittle enough that it will start falling apart from very, very little resistance over time. And I just don't want to. I don't want to risk it. I'd rather put something on here that I'm gonna feel much better about it holding up over the long haul. So, uh, and I think Donuts in Space modeling channel that did this kit build several years ago, which is the one I'm basing most of what I'm doing with this one off of. I believe he did the same thing of finding the right glue because he also didn't want to do CA glue for the whole thing, and I think he ended up using the Revell Contact Professional or whatever it's called. I believe that's what he used, and it's not advertised to work for this, but it worked. You know, some things they work despite what they're advertised for on some things, and which I've actually ordered. I've ordered some of that based off of a suggestion from or a tip from Pit Stain Hobbies a couple of videos ago, where there's a decent deal on Amazon for that stuff. So when that gets here, we will try that, and if that does indeed work well enough for my purposes, we'll do the whole thing with that. But regardless, we're not using epoxy for the majority of what's left of this model. We are going to use some type of other adhesion. That being said, these are done, and I have cleaned them up very roughly. I did not record any of that because I do not condone anybody, nor do I want to promote anybody seeing what I was having to do to these pieces to get them cleaned up from all of the horrible epoxy mess that was made. And but I've got them cleaned up. The lines are fairly back in order, surprisingly enough. Good enough that I think we can do our finish work and it'll look just fine. But they're together. What we'll do is we'll end this one and we will pick up next video doing some cleanup and attaching the other parts of this that need to go on, our final detail pieces, and get it prepped and sanded and ready for painting. And then we will start the painting process on these, and which will be a whole thing in itself. So that'll be the next video, which is an exciting one because, you know, paint. You start putting paint on things and then things start looking real good and you feel like you've done a lot of work all of a sudden. So that's coming next video. We'll get all three of these pylons prepped and painted, ready to go, so that we could move on to this bottom side ring, and get it ready, and then we can marry them together and turn them over and put them on the base, and run all our power through it and get everything ready to go so that we can work on the top half. But that's going to do it for this one. Long explanation for a little bit of info. Of course, that's how this goes. But I hope everybody has a good one, and I'll see you in the next video.